Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome to Toned and Toneful, the self-actualization video series, episode number 72, The Loneliness of Discipline. So in this week's episode, guys, I want to talk about how when we are in our most disciplined state, how sometimes that can be the loneliest place. It's interesting because you'd think, I'm being my most disciplined self. I'm exuding confidence. I'm staying focused on the things that matter. How would this put me in a place where I'm lonely rather than surrounded by other confident people who are disciplined as well? Or there are many reasons for this, and it starts off with the community that we had before and the community that we've built. And being disciplined on its own doesn't change your whole life by itself. Being disciplined requires us to change multiple facets of our life in order for it to match where we want to be. This can be a really hard realization while we're going through it, because it takes so much work to become disciplined in the first place on our habits, on our hobbies, and on our projects, that it feels like there's no time left to build the community that you want, or sometimes find the partnerships that you're looking for so that they reflect exactly how much work you've been putting in. One of the things that I want you guys to think about is how there are solutions to this, but at the same time, they are an ongoing process. Discipline is about the consistency, and discipline isn't about inspiration. Inspiration is fleeting at times. We might see something that creates a very strong emotion in us, and we might want to chase after that emotion or chase after that result, that reward. And in the long run, what really is going to keep things consistent is our discipline. The discipline is what's going to allow things to be in a more consistent light. The discipline is going to allow us to live a life that is more plateaued, and that's not negative. When we are in that calm mental state and that calm physical state, we can recognize more patterns, and we are able to make adjustments to the things that we're doing in a much, much clearer way that the results do actually show in the long run. So one of the first things I want you guys to think about when you're experiencing loneliness, especially because of your discipline, is that you might be new to it. Being new to discipline is a very hard thing. The people who are around you might see you as a different person. They might go, hey, you've been really into your working out, or you've been really on top of your diet. Why the change? And you might say something simple like, oh, I want to look better, or I want to be healthier. To those around you, they might kind of have like a little bit of a interesting reaction. Some might lean in and go, that's great. And that's all they think of it. They don't think of you as better or worse. They think of you as the same person. Your discipline doesn't change one thing that they think about you. And there are others who view it with a bit of skepticism. Some people might say, oh, you think you're becoming better? Or, oh, like, what? Like, because now you have this new diet, you're so disciplined now? And the longer that you continue with it, in that new phase, it could be a year, it could be 6 months, people are going to have a lot of backlash to you, because those who are around you aren't used to seeing this new you. They question it. Most people question things that are new. They might be like, why is so-and-so so into their diet? Or now they're really playing guitar. Like every post on their Instagram is guitar. They never played guitar before. What's this big deal? They're not even really playing that great, so why are they so into it? But that's where discipline wins versus inspiration. Being inspired, you might practice for a little bit and you hear comments like this. You feel this initial reaction to you being new to your discipline and you back off. You feel afraid of this. You feel this distance growing between you and those who have once been friends, close colleagues, maybe even family members, who are just questioning why you're trying to do this. And the further that you get into it, you realize that you really love something. And putting the discipline isn't about just getting the result. It's about you enjoying the process. It's about you enjoying the ability to have this new skill. And that sometimes can be a very scary thing for a lot of people, because they don't understand what it's like to change something in themselves. So they don't know how to see you. So when you're new to your discipline, hold down, hold strong, hold the line. Because in this process, you're finding more of who you are within it. And those who are around you, they might not be able to see that inside of what you're working on, you're actually becoming the person that you want to become. They just see it as you're changing different from the thought they had of you. And I know that's a very selfish point of view that many people hold. They hold a certain image of us in their mind, and they don't want to let that go. They can't see that change as something that's positive. You're no longer fitting into the little box that they had of you in their mind. And many people get stuck in this. And a lot of people get really locked into why you aren't the same person that they thought you were. So when you're new inside of your discipline, do not forget that their mental opinion of you has nothing to do with who you are in the first place. That who you are has always and will always be your self-perception of that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take note of the things that we're doing that are positive and negative in other people's lives. But if what you're doing is something that is purely for you and it seems to be irking other people, I wouldn't worry about it. The next thing that I would notice that would happen to a lot of people when they're going and they're feeling loneliness in their discipline is the power of change. The change in your life to who you are is a very, very hard thing. And sometimes it can be uneasy inside yourself to feel this change. You notice that you're changing as a person. You notice that your groups are changing. And it's not easy to notice that separation that happens. You start off with this discipline and you're working on it, and you hit this plateau. And the plateau is you're actually starting to change. But in that change, you start separating from the people that you once know. And that power to change has to be pushed through all the way so you can find your new community. So you can find what you're looking for in people. Your old friends, they might not be able to be your friends anymore. And some of these disciplines might be, hey, you quit smoking cigarettes. Maybe you stopped drinking alcohol. Maybe you decided to stop, meeting at the bar every week on Saturday and frivolously spending your money. And you've decided the discipline is having better finances. This puts you in a place where that power to change can get lost. But I highly recommend you don't let it go, because when you see it through to the end, there are results. Discipline is about a day-to-day thing, and it's about loving the process of this change that's happening in you. That doesn't even mean that you need to note it every day that I've changed in this way or I've changed in that way. But more so that you could say, hey, on the daily, I know that I'm following my path. And when I lay my head down at night, it is something that I can truly feel good about. And sometimes that's the biggest reward, because everything has a day and night and a black and white. And a lot of people like to say that discipline will, consistency will change your life, and discipline is the power in this world. It is. But you have to realize that everything has an opposing power, that everything has a yin to the yang. And so when you make this change within yourself, there are those who are going to see that as a negative. And they could be people that you once really cared about. They can be people that you once spent a lot of time with. And it hurts to know that they can't see that change as something that's good in you. But the power of the change that's happening in you is something that you really, really want to lean into. Because the only way to get to the next level, to find your new community, to find the new people, to find everything that's waiting for you on the other side, is to not give up. And when you give up, you're kind of actually ignoring what discipline is. Discipline is about being consistent. And it's not about the emotional pull of it. It's about being consistent because you want that result that comes from being a lifestyle type person in the thing that you're working on. There are many guitar players who are incredible. Some of the best guitar players that I know in my life and musicians that I know are not even people who play in front of a ton of people. They're not even famous. But these individuals have a skill level that many admire, and that actually, when you want to like tear them out, they're some of the top tier musicians in the world. I know more people probably know Taylor Swift's name than Alan Holdsworth. But we all know how good Alan Holdsworth is. There's no question of that. We know a lot of people probably know Jimi Hendrix and don't know Sean Lane. But we all know how good Sean Lane is. And this is nothing to Jimi Hendrix or Taylor Swift. But it's a very, very different level of skill and a very different level of implementation of music. And there's a dedication that lives in someone like Sean Lane and Alan Holdsworth that I don't think someone like Taylor Swift or Jimi Hendrix can fully understand. And then the last thing that I want to put out today that keeps you in a reminder of like, even I know your loneliness in this discipline, don't give up, because your private habits are now showing in a public world. And it's a reflection to those around you. Remember that maybe you lose the 50 pounds. Maybe you gain the 20 pounds of muscle. Maybe you start playing the guitar the way you want. Maybe all the things that you've been working for in your disciplines are finally starting to show as a tangible result. And you wonder to yourself, why is no one excited for me? It seems like actually, as a matter of fact, people are more turned off by the fact that I got good at what I was trying to work on. That people are now kind of in an interesting spot where they go, well, I always knew you could do it. You know, you might have some people who will say things like that to you, and you're like, but you were the person who was like the biggest naysayer before. And you'll have people who now completely don't speak to you. Remember that the things that you do are a reflection on others. And unfortunately, we live in a world where the human nature, people view everything through their eyes. It's hard for them to see you. They view everything through their eyes. And this is a real hard thing to see. If you finally save up and buy that car you wanted, they don't think about you in the car. When you drive on the freeway and someone sees you in the Lamborghini, they don't see you in the car. They think, man, that'd be nice if I had that car. If you walk around and you finally achieve the body that you wanted because you put the workouts in, there's going to be someone who's going to say, man, I wish I was that in shape. They're not seeing you. It's a reflection of the difference between what they want in themselves. And this makes it incredibly hard because the individuals that you're looking to meet are going to be the people who can actually handle seeing you in whatever level of discipline and whatever level you are, and be able to be happy with themselves and be around you. So my suggestion is, put yourself in new communities where people are doing similar things as you. And as you work your way through the ranks of the things that you're working on, stay positive. Communicate with others. Don't let go of the idea that you're still a nice person, that you're a kind person, and that you're still able to connect with others socially, and that your discipline doesn't have to be the whole of your personality. That your discipline can be something that you can utilize to enhance your life, that you can use to enjoy the process of things. Taking each plate off at the gym, restringing that guitar and tuning it up, and just knowing it sounds just right before you play. And those are things that everyone can relate to. Every guitar player can relate to changing their strings and tuning up before they play. Every person who's ever gone to the gym once can relate to racking weights or getting things prepped up right before they start their workout. Take joy in those little processes, because that is where you're going to share with others. That is what's going to allow you to be in the same room without it feeling like you're in separate worlds. Because your results are going to speak for themselves and a lot of people are not going to be able to see that clearly. Again, everyone's looking at what it is in a reflection to their self. You know, you start to work on one thing and everyone's going to see what it would be like for them to be there, not for you to have gone through the efforts you've gone through. Many times people don't see you. They're just seeing what their reflections of who they are against other people. Comparison is natural for human beings. It's a survival trait that maybe we don't need as much anymore, but we still live through that lens as being a human, and that's part of the human experience. So I hope you guys found a couple of these suggestions useful, and just talking about this topic useful, because a lot of people I know who are starting to live their disciplined life, they're starting to really play guitar. I have a couple of friends who are starting to really work on guitar. Tyler, I see you. It's amazing, dude. And it's a beautiful process. And I know that for many, they get stuck in these different points because the people around them don't see them the way that they were hoping. The communities that they've built are not opposed to them doing what they're doing. They just don't really know how to show support. And being a disciplined person puts you in a very, very unique spot because you're in the driver's seat. But at the same time, if you can learn to relax, you can also be in the passenger seat, enjoying watching the results come as day by day you knock things out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, The Loneliness of Discipline. There's definitely going to be more episodes on subjects like this. And so I really hope you guys have a great week and a great weekend. And above all else, stay toned and toneful.